What's up? We're back a full week off as I was busy with the Sportsline Olympics with AB, but we are here. It's Wednesday. We've got a big slate. Jay Smooth, what's up, buddy?
There we go. Hello, Mike. How are we doing? Doing well, man. I'm sending out a little tweet to the show. We can fire it up here in a second. Obviously, always excited to be back. I think it's a decent slate. It's been an interesting week out here. I don't know. It's mid-February. It's kind of tough right now, right? I mean, we're seeing it all sort of unroll in front of our eyes. Kind of all these bad teams covering these good teams, like taking mental breaks. It feels like sometimes we saw a lot of underdogs cover yesterday. It's not really surprising at all, right? Because this is just the time of the year where, maybe the teams that are in the middle of the pack kind of are like, all right, well, we're not going to get an at-large bid, so we're kind of just gearing up for a conference tournament in a couple weeks. It's tough. I'm just actually realizing now that my lighting's a mess. That's cool. But I might go get up and fix that. Let's dive into some of the top games today, though. Should we start with the big one, the rematch?
Yeah, this is a big one. Two teams that I've loved all season, really. Bet on both teams, not even all season, but really recently too. And that's Texas Tech Baylor. I know you're going to fix your lighting and come back and talk to me about it, but this game is huge and some injury concerns on both sides. It's a rematch. Texas Tech won the first game on the road at Baylor. Worth noting that the spread in that first meeting was Baylor minus 11.5.
I remember that.
And here we are today. This line is 2 or 2.5 for Texas Tech. Obviously, there's a little bit of injury concern. There's injury concern on both sides, though, in this game. But yeah, that's what do you make of a line movement like that? That's basically 14 points from where it was home versus away.
I think this is, it's obviously an overreaction to the last time they met, right? Like it's the last time, right? Baylor lost, and so they're giving them a small chance to win on the road. But the likelihood is that they still are the better team that deserved that 11-point spread at home. And I think right now home. I know you talked about it a little bit today. But the home court advantage is standard worth around 2.5 points from a neutral court. So about 5 points switch from, being home to away in a matchup. Usually 5 to 6 points right now is where it's coming in from what I've seen. I think you said you're going to give Texas Tech that extra little 2-point bump there. But like even then, it should still be Baylor favored by if you don't give them that bump, it should be like 5.5, 4.5. You're going to say around 3. It's just, do you really expect that the levels of play have changed about 5 to 6 points in this amount of time? And if you do, then it's probably a sharp line to you. But it's definitely, I totally agree with you. I know you're taking Baylor. I'm taking Baylor too. I grabbed +2 last night. It's a great line.
Yeah. I put it at +2 this morning with the Sportsline underdog of the day. It is ballooned up to 2.5 at one book that I saw. Maybe that will be the consensus number there at that point. But you're right. I made home court worth 8 points on the flop here for Texas Tech, which is significant. They have been one of the better home court teams. But again, I made it the full 8. And you're right. It should be around but Baylor -5 essentially, -4, -5. And then we have the injury concern. That's where my line has brought this thing all the way down to Baylor -1.5. But it's very difficult for me to get to the other side with Texas Tech being favored at that point.
Yeah.
Especially with McClure questionable for them to play tonight. Obviously a big deal. I lean towards Baylor. It's not going to shock me at all if Texas Tech wins this game. It covers the small spread. It's just too much of an overreaction with the computer. Again, it's just the thing here is 14 points difference, basically. So a little out of control in my mind.
Definitely. I mean, look, you definitely can have some worries. There's a reason the line's here. It probably isn't 100% bet. We don't really find that often. Obviously, there's no real thing as a lock, as a full lock, right? Like we can't promise you it's going to win, but there's just a better than what they're giving us chance is the best way to say it. And I'm stumbling over my words today. Happy hump day, everybody. But
yeah, I want to comment on this one too. If you follow in the Discord and watch some of the things that I've done with live betting, this is definitely a game that has live betting potential written all over it. Almost definitely an arbitrage situation where you're going to be able to get plus money on both sides, likely in the first 20 minutes of the game. So I will be participating in those activities on Discord tonight.
Right. You take Baylor right now on the money line, and then later in the afternoon when they have a lead, you take the other side on the money line, and then you just watch and you make money. And you can do that in a lot of places like this because there's probably going to be a good Baylor run. There's probably going to be the models are going to predict that they might be able to win the game. And even if you can get, plus 115 and plus 120, it's still, a promised profit of like 15% of your wager. So that's pretty nice.
For sure.
All right.
Next game,
Illinois. Huge one, man. I mean, where do you even start with this? This is going to be a tough game to handicap, in my opinion. I see you have it at 8 here in your model, but it's definitely a hard one for me to look at in terms of trying to figure it out. I'm trying to get all the lines up here.
It's kind of similar to the last game. Not really. Texas Tech's a better home team than Rutgers is, but Rutgers has been better recently. I just think that there's a little bit of inflation based off of Rutgers' recent run. What have they covered? 4 in a row?
Yeah, something like that. They've been really good at home. I mean, look, I think that Rutgers probably has a better than expected chance here. Like if you take how they've been playing, you might even say that they should win, but the line coming in at 4 or 5 here for Illinois is fine. I have a hard time sort of seeing this going any other way. Illinois is really good, but look, this Rutgers team has played really well at home. It's 4 right now, right? It's -4 and over under 35.
3.5. Illinois is down to 3.5, 135.5.
I mean, clearly the public's moving on Rutgers. I probably would agree with that. I mean, they've been so strong at home, right? It's been like, okay, take Rutgers at home most of the season.
Yeah, and see, I mean, I kind of agree with that. I kind of don't. I mean, they're 8-5 at home, 8-5-1. Like it's good, but it's more or less what you would expect, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not some drastic home court advantage. It's really, we talk about certain biases all the time. I really think this is a case of recency bias in terms of believing that Rutgers is an elite home court team. The numbers just simply do not back it up. They've won and covered in games at home, but why it seems big and why it seems important to us is because it's their last 2 home games. It's Michigan State, Ohio State. They won outright on the floor and covered in both of those games as very similar underdogs to these 2 schools. I personally think Illinois is a little better than Michigan State and Ohio State. If I'm being honest with you, I think it's a totally different animal, totally different style of play needed, really. I like Illinois here. And I don't know if you want to showdown on it or not, but I personally,
I think I've missed the number. I've missed the number on Rutgers. I would have had to take it last night. 3.5 is probably okay. Get that possession, especially if you think they're going to win. Like I probably prefer the money line here than 3.5 because while I definitely do see a decent scenario where they lose by a possession, I tend to think that if Illinois is winning this, they're winning this handedly because Rutgers can keep a tight game close at home and then maybe even win. It's hard on the road. Free throws come into play late in games if it's tight. I like the home team who's like proven they can win here. Instead of like Illinois, who's like traveling to New Jersey. which might be a little off-putting as it can be. I don't think we're gonna do the New Jersey rip today, but yeah, I definitely, I think you probably want like the 140 money line for Rutgers rather than the plus 3.5 at minus 110. I think that, you know, the scenario in which they win might be more like, in terms of the weighted like probabilities, it might be more worth it at plus 140 than plus 3.5, right?
Certainly, because you're gonna set yourself up for something pretty nice in game, especially if you're in the camp that believes that Rutgers can win this game on the floor, on their home floor. So if that's a reason why you're backing them, is because you think they've been great on their home floor and have had some success recently. I personally would be on the money line at plus 140. If they're going to be leading at any point in the game, they'll be favored. And this will be another candidate where you can grab, if you're betting full units on both sides, you should be able to grab 0.2 of a unit minimum live in game in this game, if you're correct about your Rutgers play.
Definitely. All right. I want to quickly just take a couple of these comments. Is Providence the most overrated top 10 team you've ever seen? Overrated, I'm not sure. Lucky, they are the luckiest team in the country by a good margin. Like by a good 3% differential, which is pretty crazy. So the luckiest team is Providence at plus 0.2 luck factor. This is Ken Palm's rankings. And then number 2 is 0.17. So they have a huge gap. Yeah. And I'd say like a standard deviation on this luck score is probably like 0.04. So they're like 4 or 5 standard deviations past the average amount of luck that a team has. So they are probably due for some regression. They're probably hitting shots they shouldn't. They're probably facing opponents who are missing shots that they should be hitting too. So they're probably like getting weak performances out of some of their opponents and also outperforming their expectations because of like some crazy luck factors.
Yeah, I had to look to see where I had them. Where I rate Providence in college basketball at this very moment, they are not a top 40 team, let alone a top 10 team. Yeah. They're ranked number 42 for me.
45 for Ken Palm.
Yeah, 42 for me. And I'm above Ken Palm on them, which is kind of rare probably, but I have them at 42.
Pretty crazy.
So yes, they are one of the most overrated top 10 teams of
in a long time. I can't even find that. Hasla has 53. Wow.
So I'm higher than those two even. And I'm way over. Wow.
Agron says 34 right now. So you're not at least at the highest. But yeah, there's a lot of distribution in that ranking too. Usually there's some decent consensus. That's pretty spread. That's very interesting. So yeah, I would expect some regression.
Nobody has them in the top 20.
No, like they're not a top. They are not a top 20 team by talent. But yeah. But all right, let's keep rolling because we got a lot. It's a great day, honestly. It's a good Wednesday. Northwestern, Purdue. This one's fascinating. Purdue definitely. Yeah. Shout out, Mr. Pivot. Yeah. we shouldn't keep that one on the screen too long. But yes, I think we agree. Purdue has been very annoying to try to handicap. There's some day basketball that we didn't get to really talk about. That Manhattan Fairfield game. What is that, like 3 points right now or something? I saw that it was starting very slow.
10 points in the first 5 minutes. Yeah.
You love to see it. Going to come in right at that nice 105 mark, probably, if I had to guess. But we'll see. I don't know. This is it's a good day. Northwestern, Purdue. I mean, do you trust Purdue here? Do you go ahead and just like on the road? Are they the same team that they are at home? Is Northwestern is this going to be one of those games where it's the middle of February and Purdue's kind of like, all right, we're kind of in, we know we're a top team. Like we're sort of resting up a little bit, mentally preparing for bigger games. The conference tournaments is in 2 weeks now. It's starting to get like close, and I feel like this is totally a speculation, a hypothesis. Just from watching a lot of basketball, these teams kind of check out a little bit in this 2 weeks, and then they focus back up again for March, and they focus back up again for the tournaments. I don't know. 6 seems like 2 possessions at home for Northwestern, who's probably going to take this very seriously because they don't have a lot of hopes for postseason play. This is kind of a big game for them, right? So they might have this circled. Purdue's a top team in the country, number 5 right now. So I don't know. What do you think? Are you just skipping this because it matches your number, or?
I skip it. If I had to play it, I would lean over.
Yeah.
Just a little more relaxed defensively, potentially on those sides. But yeah, I can't get there on the side. I'm pretty much dead on. I think it's at 6 in most books.
Last time they went to Northwestern, it was a 3-point game in early February of 2020. Time before that, it was a little bit of a bigger game. It was 70-57s, but they've shown that they can keep this close, and that they also, it was a 20-point game at Purdue already this year, January 23rd. But I don't know. I'll
lean with Purdue. They're significantly better on the floor. It's just tough to go win and cover, basically 3 possessions at this point.
Definitely
on the road at this point in the season. So it's a stay away for me with a slight over lean. Classic Big Ten over.
Big Ten over, because the market thinks it's a slow conference, and it is, and it tends to be, but it definitely is shaded a little bit towards the under because of that. Models are going to predict over there. So yeah, I'll lean there. A good way to play that too, because it's like just a lean would maybe be I think live betting is very interesting, and there probably isn't enough coverage about it, and we do like it. We do it a lot. An under here, right? It might start slow. So if it starts slow and you can get this number down, to 10 points in terms of an edge on the model to where it is right now. So what Mike has 153. So if you can get like 142 because they start a little slow here, or Purdue comes out the gate, like not hitting all their shots or something. Yeah. I think you might want to live over in that one. That probably has some potential to watch for, especially if you can get like that 10, 12, like a 4 possession, like cushion there. Yeah. All right, some other big games coming up. We have Alabama, Mississippi State. All right, Bama. Man, Bama's been very interesting. Mississippi State's been very interesting. I lost that Mississippi State pick I made last time. That wasn't very fun. But I don't know here. This is definitely interesting. Alabama's 5-10 against the spread at home. That's not exactly inspiring confidence. I probably think this is, a pretty good pass for me. I don't know what you're thinking.
Yeah, it's definitely a pass for me. I'm pretty much dead on market on this one. I believe it's -6 most places still, basically right where I'm at. Just a really, really, really slight lean on the over, but I'm not going to end up getting there. It makes sense. Bama's been trending as an over team, 15-9 on the season.
Yeah.
Mississippi State, not bad, very neutral, 13-10 on there towards the over, but it's where I would lean, but only because I think Bama could run away with it at the end and put up enough points to get there. But for me,
I think I lean Alabama, if anything, there, because I think they lost to Mississippi State early in the year. They went to Mississippi State and they lost, and they probably, that means something to teams usually. And Alabama's having an up and down year. So I think they definitely win. I don't know about covering. It's going to be a little iffy, not a bet. We haven't really played anything yet if you're just tuning in. But let's there's a follow-up here. What time frame do you look for when betting overs like that? Do you mean like the first 5 minutes? I don't think there's necessary. I think you really want to look for runs, right? Like, and what I mean by a run is like just an improbable stretch where either one team dominates or the points cut off, or it feels like every bucket's falling. Like when it feels like a little bit like there might be due for like a regression or a progression back to the norm is when I'm looking to make a bet. That can be whenever. But like a slow start, I said that specifically because sometimes teams do start games slow and they pick up as they warm up. So it can be a good place to find that improbable stretch of the game that maybe doesn't line up with the expectation. And it normally does get faster. If you watch like the total points come in on like ESPN, they have like the total points tracker. It's like it's relatively linear, and then it gets a little bit curved towards the end because of like fouls and free throws and maybe more focus on getting buckets than playing defense. But yeah. There's no maybe specific time. It's really just specific events or feels to the game.
Yeah, I would say that for me, it's that and what the number is going to be.
Yeah, of course.
The numbers that are available are obviously the most important part of that.
Then those are related, right? Those are very related. But okay, Xavier St. John's.
Yeah. This one I was kind of close to making a play on. I want your thoughts on it. First of all,
Wow, I'm shocked. This is a non. I gotta find this game because I only have the top 10 games up. Let me find it really quick. Top 25. Sorry, not top 10. But yeah. So, man, I don't know about this one. This one seems kind of tricky. I'm kind of okay passing on it, just because, man. What is really going to come from this? This is like I've told everybody a bunch of times. The Big East is not my favorite one to go ahead and try to handicap. I mean, St. John's actually won the last meeting at St. John's, but at Xavier, I feel like it's definitely going to be Xavier. I don't know about covering. I know they're going to win. If I'm looking at a donkey play, I like that -333 to get like some odds together. Sure, but -7.5 is steep for me. But I think it could still happen because I think they could foul down to the last minute, even if they are down 6, This is a rivalry game. Basically every Big East game feels like a rivalry game. But Xavier, St. John's, this is, it's tough. We saw Xavier who they beat. They beat UConn at home. So that was -1.5. They beat them by 6. So this is 6.5. 7.5. I don't understand why, if they beat a much better team like UConn by almost the spread, they can't do it to St. John's. But this is again part of the year where like you're just like, is everything going to go the opposite way? Because it's like maybe Xavier doesn't care, but I feel like Xavier would. So yeah, I lean Xavier.
Yeah, I have zero interest in betting a side. I do like the total. I like the over. I like the over quite a bit. These two teams love to play with pace.
They do.
And it's not often in these kind of situations. It's typically like you're getting one team that really wants to play with pace, another team that's like more neutral, or on the other end of the spectrum, like really wants to slow it down, like Villanova. These two teams both look to play with pace first and foremost. And I think that they're comfortable in that environment. So for me personally, this is a pretty solid overplay. The model obviously tells you that as well, at 155.5 as the sim number. Typically this time of year, these lines start to come down a little bit in the market. Not quite the case here significantly, but you can find 149.5s out there. It's right at the threshold where I like to get to it. But I do think Xavier puts up 80 plus points in this game.
Yep, I can see it happening. The over has hit in the 4 the last 6 times these teams have met. 150 right now?
149.5 is what I've got.
Wow. Yeah, I think 152, 153 is very probable. And again, that could be 80-73. And that's probably my expected score, honestly. If you ask me, like if you wanted a crazy final score sprinkle, just take my first guess, because that's usually the one that's right. 80-73, 153 points. Oh, and that would be St. John's covering. So maybe not. But yeah, that's why I'm not taking this bet. So
81-74. That's your final score. It's listed right here. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm saying a point lower. I got a point lower.
Yep.
It's fine. That's fine. We can't always agree, Mike. Then people are just going to think we're just the same person running the same numbers. We have to have we have to keep the facade going a little bit. Right. But all right. Louisville, Miami. Ooh, I think I lead Miami, but I don't really trust it. And so I passed. I didn't really take a lot of big games today. I have a couple plays on Baylor. Was like I said didn't have any plays yet. We're both on Baylor, but that's Mike's underdog play of the day. So it's not really a play for us here on the show, but I do agree with it. So if you need any extra reason to bet it, which I don't really know what my verification does for Mike's bets, but there you go. Anyway,
did you say something? Sorry, I wasn't.
Yeah. I got you. Good one. No, I'm definitely off this game. I don't really see much of a reason to bet Miami here on the road. I don't know if you have any opinions.
No.
They've been good. I almost died. They've been good.
No opinion on that game. That one's. I want to run far away from that game as I can. Frankly.
Yeah, that game almost made me die. I almost choked because of that game. Thank you, Louisville. Louisville's been pretty trash though. 7-16-1 against the spread, but they're still getting lines like this, which is very interesting. 1-9 in their last 10 against the spread. They can't cover anything.
Yeah. This next game we got to talk about it, because I don't. Yeah. Marquette, Georgetown, right? Georgetown model typically likes them. The model's been a little inflated on Marquette because of Marquette's ridiculous run, and their ratings have been pretty good.
Yeah.
It's ballooned this line all the way to 16.3 in the Sims. It's down to 13.5 in the market. Not comfortable with that edge. I know I was going to get some questions on it if I wanted to lay the 13.5 with Marquette or 13 with Marquette. I do not. I am totally off of this game. I want no part of it.
Yeah, same. It's a big line. I hate to lean Georgetown, but I just do on a default game like this because, again, they could just keep it close. It's conference play. Like 11 or 12 wouldn't surprise me as a finish. And I think you're getting a point or two shaded. The models are all going to love Marquette. They're all going to say, like, Marquette has the potential to win this by 20, and they do. But Georgetown is 6-2 against the spread against Marquette on the road in their last 8 times going to the Fiserv Forum. So, like, there's a great stat. Like, Georgetown has historically been able to keep it closer than expected when they head to Milwaukee. So what are you going to do? Look, even Chief agrees that you got to take the Hoyas here. So, like,
Chief says the dogs are barking tonight, and
dogs are barking. The dogs are definitely going to be barking here. I lean Georgetown. I hate that I do, but it's the sharp side. I would maybe see if you can get it to balloon, but I do see maybe 12.5s out there. 13 seems pretty nice. Let me see if maybe we missed the best number. Maybe there was a 14 out there very, very early when the line came out, but yeah, no. Only for like a few minutes when it first opened, and they moved it to 13. So 13 is stuck, which should tell you plenty, because you would expect it to maybe move back to 13.5 if, sharps really thought it was Marquette. But, this is definitely a spot where the books are going to want Georgetown, and I think it's probably a good place to go grab them. Not going to be a market movers play, just probably the sharp side, maybe a sprinkle from me, like really small just for the hell of it. But I wouldn't be shocked to be correct. But that's a good way to look at games too. Anyway, on to the next one. Now we're getting Pepperdine, Gonzaga. I mean, I don't play 30-point spreads, Mike. I just default. There's so much variance cooked in. If anything, it's maybe just taking the points on. But it's Gonzaga. They're the only team that really gets lines like this consistently. So yeah, I try not to really bet Gonzaga unless I can get it down to like a 20 point game, because they are primed to win every game by 25, sometimes 40. But I don't know. What are you taking it because they might just blow them out?
No chance.
Okay, they've won by so the last time they met was January 8th. They won 117-83. They covered -30. The time before that, they won by 22 at Pepperdine. This is at Pepperdine. The time before that at Pepperdine, it was 12 points. So yeah, this is probably, they're just giving you the same line. But give me Pepperdine and the points if you have to play something here. Like, seriously, give me Pepperdine and the points. It's clearly, on the road. This is a conference matchup. These teams play every year. They know each other. It's not the same as just like these teams on paper. It's just not. And again, this is part of the year where I wouldn't be shocked to see Gonzaga drop a game. They are 5-0 against the spread at home. That's got to end. That's got to regress. So wouldn't be shocked if it happens tonight. You're probably getting too big of a number here for Gonzaga. So yeah, I'd grab Pepperdine if I had to. And just always give me the points as a default anyway. It's you usually want points rather than having to give them up. But all right, now a couple more big names still to come. It's a huge day. You can't deny this. It's Auburn versus Vanderbilt here. What do we? Man, this game we were talking. Mike and I were talking a little bit about last night about how he's maybe trying. Both of us are trying to work in new ways to hit both sides of a line, right? And I think we're looking for the most efficient lines, right? And this might be a very efficient line in my opinion. And I don't know, what do you think, Mike? Do you think this Auburn's gonna, I feel like this could get right to this 13-point finish,
Yeah, it's what I'm expecting. I got this one very, very efficient. Yeah. So I don't have a lot to say about it other than you always run the risk of Vanderbilt just totally getting blown out when they're on the road, but
yeah, Auburn at home is definitely good. It is a different bread, Tim. Right. You're right. I know you meant breed, but it definitely is a different bread as well. But But anyway, yeah, they're 14-2 against spread at home. It probably will come in there, but my guess is they get it done.
Auburn is 12-1, yeah, against the spread,
yeah.
and like the.
Wow.
I mean, maybe you have different numbers. But,
yeah, maybe I have like some weird action shit, but yeah, no, I think this is probably a great spot to like maybe take an alternate line on Auburn as one side of a donkey leg, along with like some very correlated plays. So they've also been a little bit, they've leaned towards the over. So like maybe like their alternate team total over, I was along with like the over in the game, like an alternate line there, like 3 of that, and then I don't know what's the other side you take. And then it's either that or maybe Vandy wins. I don't know. This line might be too big for that is the problem, right?
It is. Yeah. It's not, it doesn't profile as one with a ton of opportunity personally. Yeah. I think it's a very clear stay away from me personally.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just watch and see what happens. Again, you could just, of course, just go put your money on Auburn at home and let it ride, right? If you've been hitting it all year and you just want to let it ride, let it ride. That's probably a good little situation there. It's fallen. It looks like it opened at 15. So yeah, I don't hate letting it ride. Honestly, Auburn has been that good at home. But all right, LSU Georgia was like, I mean, that's a huge line here. This was kind of interesting to me. I definitely lean Georgia, but Georgia isn't that great. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, this was the other part of the underdog of the day on Sportsline. This is a game that I went under on. The number is ballooned up to 146.5. I make it 139. So I think that it could get tight at the end. If you like Georgia, the reason you should like Georgia is because LSU would have an off shooting night or be a little slow. I don't think Georgia is necessarily going to keep up with them if you think LSU is scoring 80 points in this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything that in my simulations points towards the under here at this point at that number. So you look at, if you watch the Sportsline video, you would see some of the data in there that AB rattled off from what I sent in. But this LSU team is actually one that's been a great under for me. The expectation for them is that they were a great offensive team or a good offensive team, had the ability to score. This team is 8-17 on over under.
Yeah.
32% on the season. That is not good.
No.
So yeah, go watch the Sportsline video if you want to see more about it. But in this spot, I like this game to stay under. I think it's going to land right about 140, 141. Numbers up to 146.5 at this point.
I definitely agree with you because I think I lean Georgia because if it's going to be a slower game, that means that 16 points is a little relatively too big, right? It should be, the discrepancy in terms of their efficiency should lead to a smaller difference because of the probably slower pace it's played at, the less amount of expected points.
It's not necessarily a slow pace. It's just there's no efficiency.
Right. Yeah. It's probably a little bit of more to that side for sure. But I think that Georgia probably has a good reason here. I mean, I believe that they've covered a lot of the matchups. So if you want a tricky trends time, Georgia 6-1 against the spread in its last 7 games and playing on the road against LSU. So they've done it. They've been able to keep it close. 16 is probably going to be too big. LSU hasn't been that team. 3-7 in their last 10 against the spread. I mean, that means they're 15-10 against the spread on the year. So that means that they were 12-3 against the spread to start the season, and they've just entirely cooled off. It is hard to take this team right now. Georgia is losing, but they have covered 3 of their last 5. I'm more on the side of Georgia covering this than I am LSU for sure. But not an official pick by any means. I will get to the plays I am taking today. I have to figure out which ones are my favorites, which has been a tall task the last couple of weeks for me. My God. But all right, I think we can talk. Yeah, let's finish up here with UConn, Seton Hall, and then maybe get into the games that we actually like. I don't actually have anywhere to go, so I can stay in chat. But what do we think? What do you think about this this game here with UConn? You've heard me say it before on the show, Mike. I don't really believe much in this Seton Hall team. Like, they're kind of frauds to me. I don't trust them. I just don't. 3-7 in the last 10 ATS, but I mean, UConn 4-6. So it's not like either of these teams has really inspired much confidence this season. But UConn still has defended their home court very well. They're 10-2 there straight up, but will they settle for a 5-point win and allow Seton Hall to get the cover is, the question of the day. What are your thoughts? I mean, you have 6.5, so you have a point lean here.
Another situation where it's total only. I like the over in this one, much like I like the over in the other game there, the St. John's game. I think that UConn can definitely put up the points here. It's one of those teams, kind of like I'm trying to think of the other team that's very, very similar to them, but they are typically not. It's a team that you typically think that you're leaning under on. But it's a team like UConn is a team that's closer to like a Big Ten team that gets shaded towards the under pretty much every time they play. They've been a great over team, 16-8 on the over, 8-4 at home. The line is just a little bit too low at this point for me. So if I were forced to play this one, for me personally, it would be the over. I believe the number is 136 at this point, 136. It's just really close to being a full play for me. I do agree.
35.5, but that might be gone already. Yeah, that's probably gone.
Seton Hall, I do agree, kind of a fraudulent team. UConn at home.
UConn team total because of that? Would you what if, I don't know. Seton Hall they worry me. They just worry me. Someone who's sort of watched their games happen. Like they are an under-oriented team. They've only gone over twice on the road this season in 8 tries.
I can't get to the UConn team total. You think it's 70.5 and it's minus 120. I'm not getting there.
You're going to take the edge on the full game. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. All right. Those are most of the big games. I mean, I guess Valpo, Loyola, Chicago, and North Carolina, Pittsburgh. I don't know. I don't have much on those. I guess I don't really know your full selection process of what goes in the top. Because I know then it gets into I don't think they're much ordered today. Okay. So maybe there wasn't. Okay. Yeah. You didn't sort? Okay. That's fine. No. All right. So let's just get into some of the games that I definitely wanted to talk about. There's some interesting ones. If you have games that you want to talk about in the comments, definitely drop them in. We'll see if we can get them. Can you find alternate team totals on any site? Chris asks. I don't think they're very readily available. Only some games will have alternate lines at all. But maybe live. Sometimes you can find some sites will offer like a point or two discrepancy. But usually a little difficult to find for now. But all right, let's get into some of the games that I like. I actually do have a lot highlighted on my sheet today. There was a decent amount of volume. So let's talk about, we'll go chronologically. I like to go chronologically. We'll go to Army versus Colgate. This one felt, I got to see where the line is this morning. It's 6.5 now. I grabbed 7.5 last night. Let me see if I can find this thing. There it is. You have 6.5. So you have it very efficient now, but I think this is a little disrespect towards Army at home. I think they're going to be able to keep this closer than people think. Colgate hasn't been this insane team all year. I mean, they're kind of on a tear right now, but they only beat Lafayette by 8. They've been at home the last couple games. Army's probably going to be able to keep this game close. They only lost to Navy by 3. I think that's probably a pretty similar test here. Are these full unit plays? No. Full unit plays will hit Sportsline this afternoon at some point. Everything's at 0.2 for right now until I figure out which ones I'm going full on. But that's usually how I do it. I lay down like my standard basketball play, which is like just my personal handicapping unit of 0.2 units. And then when I solidify the model plays later in the afternoon, which is how I'm doing it now, because the late night ones, it's just been crap. So I'm just trying it a little later in the afternoon, see if that helps at all. And also, I like to confer with Mike's numbers because they are the best. We can all agree. That's fine. But I like Army here. I think there's a little bit of a big number. Give me 6.5. It's over 2 possessions. I think they can keep it close, right? I don't think it's a bad take at home. I don't know if I know you're a pass, but I mean, Army's 8-3 at home against the spread. They've been able to do it. Colgate 7-9 on the road. It's not like they're like this immaculate team. They've just come on as of late and won 9 of their last 10 games. But this is exactly the spot where they could struggle because this is a tough team. This is a tough team. Yeah. Okay.
For me.
Yeah, no worries. What about Campbell versus Radford? I actually haven't even looked at your stuff yet.
I was just say I haven't looked at anything, to be honest, at some of these games. Just random.
I don't even know if this is on here.
Sure it is. Let me see. There's a lot of games today. I didn't sort. So
here it is. I found it. Campbell Radford. You have 3.5 in favor, or 3.2 in favor of Campbell. I agree. I like Campbell here. It's 4 now. I got 2.5 last night. So again, things move. And you know where I post things when they're all done? In the Discord. If you haven't joined, you got it's just I post everything there. Like at 2 in the morning, and so when you wake up, if you don't stay up late like I do, when you wake up, you can try to get these. But yeah, I got 2.5 last night. It's already at 4. So very pleased with that. I probably wouldn't play it at 4. I can't recommend it at 4. So 2.5 though under the possession line was interesting to me. Next game that I had is kind of gross. Let me see if I can find it. I like Loyola Maryland at Lafayette. That's the game I'm picking. I'm taking Lafayette to win at home on the money line. This is a pick I really like. I gotta find it in your numbers.
It's at the very bottom, very very bottom.
Get cut off here by the image.
Oh yeah. There's so many games that it's not all in the graphic.
Okay, so
I have Loyola Maryland minus 0.3.
Yeah, I like the plus 105 money line here for the home team. They Loyola Maryland's 3-8 on the road. Lafayette has played a little bit better of late. They kept it decently close with Colgate. They actually got beat bad by Navy, but they beat Bucknell at home. They beat American at home. And I think, this Loyola Maryland team lost to Bucknell. So I don't think that they have there's a good chance they lose to this Lafayette team at home too. So I'll take Lafayette. A question about the school that I always pronounce correctly. The over's interesting here. I do technically lean that way, but probably not because Loyola Maryland can be really slow. I'd probably pass.
I was shocked that I didn't have that as an edge, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I have it at 131.1. It's sitting 130.5 on FanDuel. So if you do like the over at that number, if you have access to FanDuel, it is down to 130.5, but not something I could get to personally.
Bellarmine. All right. Bellarmine. I'm saying it correctly now, like I'm from Tennessee, which is good because I don't want to say Bellarmine anymore. Bellarmine. I used to say both. Bellarmine. I love it. I love the way it's actually pronounced. But all right. I definitely want to talk about that one because it is interesting to me. I think I passed on it at the end of it. But Mike seems to have 6.1. You're definitely buying into Bellarmine at a peak price, right? So that's why I try to pass on scenarios like that just out of principle. So if you believe in their play and you think they keep it up, you go for it. If you've watched them and you think that, hey, this team is playing good basketball, you go and you take it. I mean, but I think Central Arkansas might be playing a little bit better. Standard modeling probably has Bellarmine by 7.5 or 8. I can't really recommend it. But all right. Getting some questions. Let me keep covering what I have. Maybe we'll get to some of the things that everyone already wants to hear. Let me check if it's moved. Okay, it hasn't. I like Boston University to cover at Holy Cross. This Boston University team has been playing pretty well. Let me see if I can find it in your ratings here. Nope, that's Boston College.
I have I lean with you. I have Boston U minus 8.9.
Nice. Where is that? I want to pull it up.
It's probably cut off. There are too many games today. It's like 4 games under the Bellarmine.
I think it's it'll be at the bottom though. Okay. I'm trying to navigate a million screens. Yeah, okay, it's not there. Okay, but yeah, I definitely think this is a good play. I think Boston should be able to do this. You have 9, so yeah, this is a nice play here. I think we can probably make it a market movers play. We don't really have many yet today. This feels pretty good to me. I don't know. I think that Holy Cross is kind of bad, and they just lost to American. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they just lost to American by 6 at home, and it's 7.5 for Boston University, who should be able to beat them up. Like they beat American by 18, and this Holy Cross team lost to them by 6. So I think this has a real chance to get to double digits. I really like this play. 2 down from Radford. Oh, I'm just being blind. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate it. It is hard sometimes. But anyway. Yeah, I think this is a great play. Let's go ahead and make Boston U our first market movers play at -7.5. I mean, if you can find 7, I think obviously it's better. But you know what? We're right in the middle of that third possession, so that should work. Okay. Next game up that I like. So we got to play. All right, the Bonnies. And I know people probably want to hear about this game.
For the record, I'm going to let you play that one. I don't love it, but it's okay. I'd rather play Illinois, but you like Rutgers, so we're not going to go there. Yeah.
Well, look. We can have a Mike play and a Justin play. You can take Illinois. I'm putting money on Boston. Like this is a play I actually have money on. So whether or not it's an official,
there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. I just am exercising a little more caution than that. I'm pretty sure this Holy Cross team has already beat Boston this year.
That adds to my feels that Boston's going to try to crush them and win. They did. You're right. Holy Cross has actually won the last 2. They're plus 16.5 at Boston University, and now it's only 7.5. And you know what? I don't think it should have moved 9. So I'm gonna take it. Look, my money's on it. If I lose, you can go give me shit on Twitter, but my money's on it. All right, next game that my money is on is going to be the Bonnies. So what do you think about St. Bonaventure? They've turned it on. They beat, they won back-to-back. 11.5 is where I played it. It's still there. You agree. Your model agrees it's a sharp line. I don't trust UMass on the road. You have a nice lead on the over here, man. This is a market movers play if I ever seen one.
Yep.
So
if you remember correctly, recently UMass was a team that we cashed the over on by, I believe, 1 point when we had the 13-point edge on the total. They're a team that we have always had over leans on. And the reason for that is they play with pace.
Yep.
And they rate 325th in defensive efficiency. So yeah, I like the over quite a bit just because the Bonnies are playing better now. But that's why you get overs in these simulations like that. Anytime you have a team that's projected to play with pace and they're just horrible in terms of defensive efficiency, like this is one of the worst teams in the country in terms of defensive efficiency, but they play with pace as if they're like good. Right. Yeah. So I think that this is a spot where the Bonnies could absolutely, they're definitely putting up 80, but I could see them putting up 90 to 100 in this game.
Okay. So here's the first actual market movers play then, huh? The full agreement. Like I'm totally with you. I just don't see them stopping Bonaventure. And this number coming in, at mid 140s just probably isn't enough. This could be 95-70. And there's a real chance to that. I know it seems exorbitant, but there's a non-zero chance that it's 95-80. Yeah.
I'm playing it right now at 145. It's not even 145 and a half. It's 145 minus 110 on FanDuel.
All right. So -1 over 145. We are saving it, and boom, it's there. There's our first official play of the day. So for people scrolling on through, you could see it. What's up? Thank you for stopping in the replay. We appreciate you being here. I see 144.5. Maybe it isn't actually out there, but it looks like a good play for sure. So I have both a side and a total in this game. I'm going to, I think and it correlates, right? Because a lot of points means a bigger chance for a bigger margin to occur. So I'll lay it and I'll go over with you for sure. All right. Next game that I like. What do you think about Winthrop against Gardner Webb here? I'm going to go ahead and take Gardner Webb. I know you look like you're pretty efficient on it. Nothing crazy for me. I think Gardner Webb's the better team by Fair. More than this margin. It's actually at 3.5 now. So you can get a better number than what I played. I just tend to think this is a Gardner Webb win. They've been playing better ball. I mean, historically, Winthrop has dominated this matchup, but I think this is one of the worst Winthrop teams that the program has put out in the last couple of years, and one of the best Gardner Webb teams that program has put out in a long time. So yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and grab Gardner Webb -3.5. If you can -3, if you can wait on this and get -3, I'd do that. But I really like that play. I think this is they're going to say, hey, we can finally beat this Winthrop team, and we're at home. Like, let's go ahead and try to get this win. A couple more plays that I like. We heard last week on the early edge, Larry was talking about how bad it's gotten for Duquesne. I'm keeping them on auto fade. I'm just like they are in a rut, and George Washington has been playing better. I know it's tough to take George Washington, but they're gonna be hungry. And I don't even see it. I think Duquesne, like, for whatever reason, doesn't usually make. Oh no, it's at the bottom. I'm being blind again. It's right in front of my face. Good. Yeah. So Duquesne should be able, maybe to hold their own, but like, give me George Washington here. Give me the points. This team is so down and out, and this is something that like you don't know if you don't pay attention, which I don't pay attention to plenty of teams and I use numbers all the time, but like. This is going to be tough. This is going to be tough. And it's 2.5 now, maybe it's 3.
2.5.
So yeah, I got 4.5 because that was a great number. I don't think I can recommend taking 2.5 or 3, honestly. So that stinks. I hate when that happens, but I mean, that's why, my plays are in the Discord late at night, and you can get good lines most of the times. I usually do beat lines because it's sometimes it's very obvious. You shouldn't be giving Georgetown 4.5 points against this team. They shouldn't be getting more than a full possession, and the market wised up and realized and moved it to 3, 2.5. It's just sort of how it works. And that's kind of what you want to go for when you're looking to maybe do this yourself. That's your goal. But all right, a couple more. I think St. Louis is going to beat up LaSalle coming off that back-to-back win. Back-to-back loss to St. Bonnie's. I just 14. I don't know if you could, I think they're going to dominate them. I'm trying to find it here. Wish me luck. There it is. You have 14.5. It's fine line to me. I think it's 13 now. Again, so lost a little bit on that one, but yeah, I'll take it. I think they're mad. They're probably mad. I can't imagine they're very happy. And this is a team everybody beats up on in this conference. So give me St. Louis -14. Again, these are all 0.2 units. And again, we only have the one official market movers play right now. We have some others that we have some high conviction on, like Boston University might be one of my favorites today. But all right, Utah Valley. This was an interesting line last night, -1.5. It's now -2.5. A little bit of a change, but like not so much that it's going to tell me that I shouldn't play it. 3 is obviously a much bigger deal. As you can see, I can't seem to locate it.
I'm not sure it's there on the view.
Might not be, but that's fine. Let me look on the actual sheet.
I still don't see it.
Yeah, I think sometimes that happens for you with Tarleton. I think sometimes Tarleton gets a little messed up in your system. But yeah, I'm not really convinced that Tarleton's great. So give me Utah Valley and under a possession on the road. This is only like their 3rd time ever meeting, and 2 of the times they met, like Utah Valley dominated. This is the first time at Tarleton, but I still like Utah Valley to dominate them. I think that this could be 6-8 pretty easily. So I'll go grab it. I'll eat my words if I'm wrong. I mean, that's the business. I eat my words when I'm wrong every single time. Like it's so funny how often, like, you know, like we're wrong like 45% of the time. And that's great. If we're lucky, we're wrong 45% of the time. So yeah, I'm very often eating my words. You get very used to the taste. I'll tell you that much. But all right. Yeah. And then my last play of the day is going to be the late tip. Air Force plus 10.5. I got last night. It's at 10. I know this is kind of a big game. I think Boise coming off that overtime loss to Colorado State. I hit that money line. I think, what was that, on Sunday? This is going to be a tough game coming off of overtime, going to the altitude at whatchamacallit, at Air Force up in Colorado. This is going to be tough. You have 11.5 though. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think this slows down? I mean, you definitely slightly lean under. I would too. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a stay away from me. I totally get why you want to play it. I could slightly lean under as well, but I truly think it's more efficient than we think it is. So I'm personally staying off of it, but
Fair.
I totally understand why you want to lean the way you do. And I generally agree that that's the way you would want to lean.
Yeah, they've been it's a tough place to play. 8-3 at home ATS, and they've played some good teams in this conference. This is not a joke of a conference. You know, again, this might be a scenario in which Boise State's looking ahead. You know, they're coming off of a tough loss, overtime loss against a rival, and the next they're playing Utah State, which is another rival. I'm sure they could easily write off this road game after a home loss and take another not an L. They know they're going to win, but I could easily see them settling for an 8-point win. That's why I'll take it. So yeah. My favorite play of the day, probably going to be that Boston University play. Wouldn't shock me if I get that one up on Sportsline today. So honestly, it probably loses, knowing my luck recently. But the official market movers play right now looks as though we really are only going to have one. It's a pretty efficient day. I didn't really run the biggest edges. If I find some other ones, I'll tweet them out. Mike and I maybe tweet them out after the show, maybe this afternoon, or post them in the Discord. Maybe we'll do that. Because usually I run Mike's data against the market, and I find out where we have big edges. And well, you know, didn't happen yet today. So I'll do that. We'll get that done eventually, get you those lines. But yeah, this is definitely a really highly correlated play. I'm on the Bonnies too, along with this over. My picks are also in the Discord. You know, if you aren't in the Discord, what are you doing at this point?
What are you doing?
We have a good time. We have a good time, man. I mean, we're playing poker now. We're having a good time doing that. Sometimes Mike comes in and joins. We give away NFTs. It's been a good time. I enjoy it. Maybe we'll do some poker tonight, honestly. So hey, let's have a good one. I got a lot of plays. Should be a fun afternoon. I'll see you on Friday, Mike, for our next episode.
See you guys on Friday, and yeah, get over on the Discord. Dropping some cross sport donkeys right now.
Let's do it.
Champions League, college basketball. Let's do it.